The power of intentional living is one of the most underrated yet most transformative principles in the journey of success. At first glance, the idea seems simple. Be deliberate with your actions. But in practice, it separates those who drift through life from those who design it. The reality is, most people never stop to consciously choose the direction of their life. They wake up reacting to alarms, to news, to stress, to the needs of others. Their day is dictated by habit and impulse, not by vision and purpose. Intentional living changes that. It is about taking the steering wheel of your life and deciding with clarity and courage where you want to go. Living intentionally means that everything you do is connected to a purpose. You don't just wake up because you have to. You wake up because you're chasing something meaningful. Your actions are no longer driven by convenience or comfort, but by design. You begin to evaluate your time, your energy, and your attention like the precious resources they are. You start asking powerful questions like, is this habit serving my goal? Is this relationship helping me grow? Is this job aligned with my values? The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of questions you ask yourself. And intentional living is the practice of constantly asking those questions. The biggest lie that culture tells us is that life just happens to us, that we're all victims of circumstance. But the truth is, while we can't control everything, we have far more power than we believe. And that power starts with intention. If you don't decide what you want your life to look like, someone else will decide it for you. Your employer, your peers, social media, even your past. But once you become intentional, you take back authorship. You're no longer living out someone else's script. You're writing your own. The foundation of intentional living is clarity. You must become clear about who you are, what you want, and why you want it. Without clarity, you can't be intentional. You can only be busy. And there's a big difference. Busy people are exhausted, but not necessarily fulfilled. Intentional people, on the other hand, are focused. They know that not every opportunity is worth their energy. Not every invitation is worth their time. Clarity allows you to say no to the distractions and yes to the actions that create progress. Being intentional also demands awareness. You can't be deliberate about your future if you're not conscious of your present. This means observing your thoughts, your habits, your patterns. It means recognizing when you're operating on autopilot. Most people live in reaction mode. They're always responding to something, but when you live with intention, you start to respond instead of react. There's a difference. Reaction is immediate and emotional. Response is thoughtful and strategic. Intentional living helps you pause, think, and choose. Another vital part of intentional living is aligning your values with your behavior. It's not enough to want success. You must define what success actually means to you. For some, it's financial freedom. For others, it's meaningful work or deep relationships or spiritual growth. When your actions align with your core values, you gain a sense of internal peace because your outer world reflects your inner truth. Misalignment, on the other hand, leads to frustration and burnout. You feel like you're climbing a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. Intention prevents that. Intentional living doesn't mean you have to be perfect or productive every moment. It's not about hustle culture or nonstop action. It's about living on purpose. Rest can be intentional. Time with family can be intentional. Even fun can be intentional. The key is to choose it consciously, not just fall into it by default. Transformation begins the moment you stop living by accident and start living by design. 6 months of intentional living can create more change than 6 years of unconscious effort. But it starts with a choice, a decision to wake up and take responsibility for your direction. And watch how life begins to respond to your clarity and commitment. Intention is not a one-time act. It's a daily mindset. And once you adopt it, nothing about your life will stay the same. Designing a personal growth blueprint is much like building a house. You wouldn't begin construction without a detailed plan. And yet that's exactly how many people approach their lives. Drifting from one day to the next, without structure, without clarity, and without direction. A personal growth blueprint is your plan for becoming the person you want to be. It's not just a vague idea of getting better or doing more. It's a structured, strategic design that outlines your vision, your goals, and the exact habits and actions that will get you there. When you decide to grow intentionally, the first thing you must do is assess where you currently stand. This means taking a hard, honest look at every area of your life, your health, your mindset, your finances, your relationships, your skills, your spirituality, whatever matters to you. This isn't about being critical or judgmental, it's about gaining clarity. You can't chart a course forward if you don't know your starting point. This initial self-assessment is the foundation of your blueprint. Without it, you're building on sand. Next, you must get crystal clear on where you want to go. Vague goals don't inspire action. Specific, measurable, time-bound goals do. Saying, I want to be healthier isn't enough. But saying, I will work out 5 days a week for the next 6 months and lose 15 pounds gives you something to aim at. Goals should be broken down into categories: physical, mental, emotional, financial, professional, relational. Because true growth is holistic. You are not just your career or your bank account or your body. You are a complete human being. Your blueprint should reflect that. After defining your goals, the next part of your blueprint is identifying the habits that will lead you there. Goals are outcomes, but habits are systems. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If your goal is to become a confident public speaker, your habit might be practicing speaking for 30 minutes every day. If your goal is to improve your finances, your habit might be tracking your spending and saving a set percentage of your income. Small actions, repeated consistently, are what create large-scale results. This is where the blueprint becomes powerful. It connects your daily actions to your long-term vision. It's also crucial to assign timelines and milestones. A 6-month success plan doesn't mean everything happens in one massive push at the end. It means breaking your goals into monthly and even weekly chunks. This gives you targets you can measure and track. Progress, when tracked, creates momentum. You start to see wins, you start to feel capable. Motivation grows not from hope, but from results. That's why your blueprint needs built-in checkpoints. Moments to pause, reflect, and adjust course if needed. Equally important is your support system. Growth rarely happens in isolation. Who are the people in your life that will encourage you, challenge you, hold you accountable? A personal growth blueprint must include your environment, people, tools, routines, and even the information you consume. The right support can speed up your growth exponentially. The wrong influences can sabotage it quietly. Your plan must protect your progress. Now here's where many people stumble. They confuse planning with doing. A blueprint is not a magic paper. It's not enough to have a beautiful plan tucked into a journal or typed up in a digital document. Action is what turns the plan into a new reality. Implementation is where the transformation lives. Your blueprint is only as powerful as your willingness to follow it daily. Discipline bridges the gap between intention and achievement. And yet, even with discipline, life happens. Things go wrong, plans get disrupted. That's why your blueprint should not be rigid, it should be resilient. Built into your plan should be flexibility, the ability to pivot, the wisdom to revise. You are not a machine. Growth doesn't follow a perfect straight line. Some months you may surge ahead, others you may need to catch your breath. What matters is that you keep going, that you stay connected to your why, that you keep your vision alive. Creating a personal growth blueprint is one of the most empowering steps you can take. It's not just about setting goals. It's about creating a system that supports who you are becoming. It turns wishful thinking into intentional progress. It takes your dreams and gives them structure. With a solid blueprint, the next 6 months can become a period of extraordinary growth and transformation. not by chance, but by design. Daily disciplines are the quiet architects of success. They often go unnoticed, overlooked, and underestimated, yet they are the most reliable tools for building the future you desire. Many people wait for a breakthrough moment, a big opportunity, a stroke of luck, or sudden inspiration. But real success is rarely born from those dramatic moments. It's forged in the small, consistent actions you take every single day. The things that seem insignificant, repetitive, even boring, are often the very things that compound over time into life-altering results. When we talk about daily disciplines, we're referring to the intentional habits and routines that align with your long-term goals. These are the tasks that, while simple, are strategic. They serve a greater purpose. They are not reactive, they are proactive. For example, reading 10 pages of a good book each day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's over 3,500 pages of wisdom, strategy, or inspiration. That's the equivalent of dozens of books, ideas that could shape your thinking, your behavior, and ultimately your success. So the reason most people don't realize the power of daily disciplines is because the results are not instant. We live in a culture that celebrates quick wins and immediate gratification. But true transformation doesn't work that way. It's slow, it's cumulative, it demands patience and persistence. Going to the gym today won't make you fit by tomorrow. Saving $10, 0 cents today won't make you wealthy next week. But do these things every day, and 6 months from now, you won't even recognize the person you've become. What makes daily discipline difficult is not the difficulty of the action itself. It's the battle with inconsistency. Most people can wake up early one day. Most people can eat healthy for a week. Most people can focus on their goals for a short period. The challenge is doing it every single day, especially when motivation fades. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's the decision to show up, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Because that's what separates those who succeed from those who only wish they did. The beauty of daily discipline is that it builds identity. Every time you follow through on a habit that supports your goals, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who takes action. You're not just saying, I want to be successful. You're saying, I am the kind of person who does the work. Identity change happens not through massive declarations, but through small, repeated decisions. When you write for 10 minutes a day, you become a writer. When you save a little money each day, you become financially responsible. When you listen, learn, and apply ideas daily, you become a student of life. Your daily disciplines also give you control. So much of life can feel uncertain and out of your hands, but you always have power over your habits. You can choose how you start your morning. You can choose whether you scroll through your phone or read something enriching. You can choose whether you let distractions run your day or whether you stick to your plan. That sense of agency builds confidence. When you trust yourself to follow through, your self-respect grows. And when self-respect grows, so does your momentum. Another crucial benefit of daily discipline is that it removes the need for constant decision-making. When something becomes a discipline, it becomes automatic. You don't have to debate with yourself every day about whether to work out, whether to write, whether to review your goals. It's part of your system. This frees up mental energy and reduces friction. The fewer decisions you have to make, the more likely you are to stick to your plan. But remember, not all disciplines are created equal. The goal isn't to fill your day with endless tasks. The goal is to focus on a few high-impact habits that directly support your vision. You want to identify the keystone actions, those that, when done consistently, unlock other areas of progress. For one person, that might be journaling every morning. For another, it might be preparing healthy meals in advance. The key is to be strategic and intentional. Over time, Daily disciplines create your future reality. They turn aspirations into achievements. They are the small hinges that swing big doors. If you commit to them, not just once in a while, but every day, you'll be amazed at how much progress you can make in just 6 months. Because the truth is, success is not something you chase. It's something you build. Brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. And scary, missing. The compound effect of consistency is one of the most powerful forces in personal growth, yet it is often the least appreciated. In a world that glorifies big wins, overnight success, and dramatic transformations, the quiet and patient nature of consistency is frequently overlooked. But anyone who has achieved meaningful, lasting success knows that it wasn't one big action that changed everything. It was a series of small, deliberate actions repeated over time. And that's the essence of the compound effect. Just like in investing, where small deposits made regularly grow into large sums over time, personal habits, when practiced consistently, can lead to extraordinary transformation. One of the most misunderstood ideas about success is that it's the result of one-time effort or massive short-term sacrifice. People look at successful individuals and assume they must have done something exceptional all at once. But in reality, the results others admire are built through consistent behaviors that seem ordinary in the moment. A 15-minute workout doesn't seem life-changing. Reading a few pages a day doesn't look impressive. Choosing water over soda won't be noticed. But do these things every day and the results begin to stack. Not immediately, not overnight, but steadily and reliably. The truth is, inconsistency is what kills most dreams. Not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity, not even lack of knowledge. People start strong. They get excited. They buy the journal, set the goal, sign up for the program, and for a few days or weeks they follow through. But then life gets busy, motivation dips, results aren't immediate, and they stop. They abandon the habit because the payoff isn't visible yet. Now, this is where the compound effect works against you. Just as positive habits compound in your favor, negative ones, or simply the absence of consistent action, compound against you. Skipping a workout, procrastinating on a task, ignoring your budget, these don't destroy your progress in a day, but over time, the cost adds up. Consistency, however, changes everything. It creates rhythm, it builds momentum, it develops resilience. When you commit to doing something every day or every week without fail, you begin to shift from being results-driven to being process-driven. This is an essential mindset shift. Results come and go, but processes sustain. When you fall in love with the process, you stop relying on motivation and start relying on structure. You realize that progress is happening even when it's not obvious. You start to trust the process, and more importantly, you start to trust yourself. One of the most powerful outcomes of consistency is the sense of personal integrity it builds. When you tell yourself, I'm going to do this every day, and you follow through, your confidence grows, not because of the task, but because you kept your word to yourself. Most people think confidence comes from achievements, but the deeper source is self-trust. When you consistently follow through, you prove to yourself that you are dependable. That creates internal strength and certainty, which translates into every area of your life. The compound effect also teaches patience. It reminds you that worthwhile things take time. In a world of instant downloads and same-day delivery, patience is a rare and powerful advantage. When you embrace the compound effect, you stop expecting results tomorrow. You start appreciating the slow and steady climb. You understand that each small step forward, however mundane, has value. You recognize that growth is happening even when you can't see it yet. And that's a maturity most people never reach. What's also important is that consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you'll never miss a day or make a mistake. What it means is that you return. You recommit. You don't let a bad day turn into a bad week or a bad month. You don't give up just because you stumbled. The compound effect only works when you keep coming back to the habit. That's where the magic lies, in your ability to stay the course. Over 6 months, small, consistent actions can completely transform your life. If you read just 10 pages a day, that's roughly 1,800 pages in 6 months, enough to finish 8 to 10 books. If you save just $5, 0 cents a day, that's $900, 0 cents in 6 months, not even counting any interest. If you walk 30 minutes a day, that's 90 hours of movement, potentially thousands of extra calories burned, and mental clarity gained. The numbers may start small, but they grow faster than you think. In the end, the compound effect is about honoring the truth that big change doesn't come from big effort all at once. It comes from small effort repeated without fail. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. And if you embrace it, really embrace it, you'll find that success is not some far-off event. It's something you are building right now, with every small step, every good choice, every day that you show up and do the work. A strategic mindset is one of the most valuable assets you can develop on your path to transformation. It's the ability to think beyond the immediate, to approach challenges and opportunities with perspective, clarity, and purpose. While many people live reactively, dealing with problems as they arise and making decisions based on emotion or urgency, those with a strategic mindset plan, prepare, and position themselves for success. They don't just work hard, they work smart. They don't just take action, they take the right action. That's the power of thinking strategically. To adopt a strategic mindset, you must start by shifting how you view time. Most people live in a short-term loop. They focus on what needs to be done today, this week, or at best, this month. A strategic thinker, however, considers the long game. They ask, how does what I'm doing today move me closer to where I want to be in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years? That question changes the way you spend your energy. It forces you to filter out the noise and zero in on high-leverage activities, those that produce outsized results over time. Strategic thinkers also understand the importance of priorities. They don't try to do everything, they do what matters most. This is a fundamental difference between being busy and being effective. A person without a strategic mindset can fill their day with activity, emails, meetings, errands, and still make no real progress. But someone thinking strategically will identify the 2 or 3 key actions that, if completed consistently, will drive them toward their most important goals. That kind of focus multiplies results. Clarity is another cornerstone of strategic thinking. You cannot be strategic if you are unclear about your goals, values, and desired outcomes. Strategy is not just about choosing a path. It's about choosing the right path based on your unique destination. That's why reflection and self-awareness are so critical. You must know what success looks like for you, not for your boss, your peers, or society. A strategic mindset is deeply personal. It begins with asking, what do I want to create in my life? And then planning backward from that vision. Another defining trait of a strategic mindset is the willingness to anticipate obstacles. Many people get blindsided by challenges because they never expected them. Strategic thinkers know that adversity is inevitable. They don't fear it, they plan for it. They build buffers, they develop contingencies. They think, what could go wrong and how will I respond when it does? This mindset doesn't make life easier, but it does make it more manageable. It turns surprises into solvable problems rather than paralyzing setbacks. A strategic mindset also means being intentional about resources, your time, your money, your energy, and even your relationships. These are limited assets, and a strategic person treats them as such. They invest in activities and people that yield growth. They avoid the trap of spending time on things that feel urgent but aren't important. They delegate where possible, automate where practical, and eliminate what no longer serves their mission. This isn't about being cold or mechanical. It's about protecting your potential from the chaos of distraction. Feedback is another key component. Strategic thinkers actively seek feedback because they know they don't have all the answers. They aren't threatened by critique, they're sharpened by it. They understand that being strategic doesn't mean being right all the time. It means being willing to adjust, to learn, to adapt as new information becomes available. That flexibility, grounded in a firm sense of purpose, is what gives strategy its strength. It's not rigid. It evolves with you. Execution is where strategy proves its worth. Ideas are easy. Plans are common. Execution is rare. A strategic mindset is incomplete without the discipline to act on the plan. This means setting timelines, measuring progress, and holding yourself accountable. It means reviewing your results regularly, not to judge yourself, but to refine your approach. It means building systems and routines that support your goals so that strategy becomes part of your lifestyle, not just a once-a-year brainstorming session. Over the course of 6 months, a strategic mindset can radically accelerate your growth. It allows you to bypass unnecessary mistakes, optimize your efforts, and sustain your momentum. It shifts your life from reactive to proactive, from scattered to focused. More importantly, it empowers you to live by design, not default. You stop chasing random goals and start building a meaningful future. One choice, one plan, one strategic decision at a time. Resilience and adaptability are the quiet strengths behind every long-term success story. They are not always flashy or talked about on stage, but they are the traits that keep people moving forward when plans fall apart, when motivation fades, and when life throws unexpected obstacles in the way. No matter how well you prepare, no matter how clear your vision or how solid your strategy, the journey of transformation will never be a straight line. That's why cultivating resilience and adaptability is not optional, it's essential. Resilience is your inner capacity to recover from setbacks. It's what keeps you grounded when things go wrong and what helps you bounce back when you get knocked off course. Many people misunderstand resilience, thinking it's about being unaffected by challenges. But true resilience isn't about avoiding struggle, it's about responding to it with strength and perspective. When you're resilient, you don't crumble under pressure. You pause, you reassess, and you get back up. You may bend, but you don't break. This mindset alone can make the difference between giving up and pushing through. Adaptability, on the other hand, is your ability to adjust to change. It's how you respond when the path you planned suddenly looks different, when your schedule is disrupted or when your goals need to shift. Adaptable people don't waste energy resisting change. They embrace it as part of the process. They understand that the world is not static, and neither is growth. What worked yesterday may not work today, and that's okay. Adaptability means staying flexible, open-minded, and willing to learn. It's about letting go of perfection and leaning into progress. Together, resilience and adaptability form a powerful combination. They allow you to keep going even when the conditions aren't perfect. And here's the truth. The conditions will rarely be perfect. There will be late nights, failures, disappointments, slow progress, and unexpected detours. If you expect the path to success to be easy or predictable, you're setting yourself up for frustration. But if you anticipate setbacks and prepare to respond with resilience and adaptability, you'll be able to keep momentum when others quit. One of the best ways to build resilience is to reframe failure. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, view it as feedback. Every misstep carries a lesson, every delay holds information. The people who grow the most over time are the ones who treat every experience, good or bad, as part of their training. They don't let setbacks define them, they let setbacks refine them. That kind of mindset turns adversity into fuel. It makes you mentally tougher and emotionally stronger, which means you're better equipped for future challenges. Adaptability also requires humility. You have to be willing to admit when something isn't working, even if it once did. You have to be open to new ideas, new strategies, and new ways of thinking. The goal is not to stick rigidly to one plan, it's to reach the destination, and sometimes that means changing course. Adaptable people are not stubborn about their methods. They're committed to the outcome. They adjust their sails when the wind changes, but they never lose sight of the shore. Developing these traits is not just about mindset, it's about practice. You build resilience by going through tough times and choosing not to quit. You build adaptability by stepping outside your comfort zone and learning how to pivot. Every time you face a challenge and respond constructively, you're strengthening those muscles. Over 6 months, you can go from being easily discouraged to being emotionally stable. You can go from feeling thrown off by change to handling it with grace. It's not magic, it's training. Another important aspect of resilience and adaptability is emotional regulation. Your ability to manage stress, fear, disappointment, or frustration will determine how well you perform under pressure. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means being aware of them, processing them, and not letting them control your decisions. Practices like journaling, mindfulness, and deep breathing can help you stay centered. Talking to mentors or trusted friends can provide perspective. You don't have to go through tough times alone, but you do need to learn how to navigate them with clarity. Finally, remember that resilience and adaptability aren't about always having the right answer. They're about staying in the game long enough to find the answer. Many people give up, not because they failed, but because they weren't willing to adjust. They held on to one way of doing things, or they let one tough season convince them to stop. Don't make that mistake. Let your setbacks strengthen you. Let change refine you. And know that every challenge you overcome is not just a step forward, it's proof that you're becoming the kind of person who can thrive no matter what life throws your way. Celebrating progress and staying inspired might sound like the feel-good part of a success plan, but make no mistake, these two elements are as critical as discipline, strategy, or resilience. They're the emotional fuel that keeps you moving forward when the path gets long. They're the reminders that you are making progress, even if you haven't reached the finish line yet. And they are the practices that help you enjoy the process, not just endure it. Because if you can learn to love the journey, success won't just be a destination, it'll become your lifestyle. One of the most overlooked parts of goal achievement is the power of small wins. We tend to focus so much on the end result that we forget the importance of acknowledging our progress along the way. But progress, even when it's incremental, is evidence that change is happening. If you're trying to lose weight and you've only lost 2 pounds, that might not feel like much, but it's 2 pounds in the right direction. If you're building a business and you landed your first customer, that's a victory. If you wrote 1 page today when your goal is a book, you're now 1 page closer than you were yesterday. Recognizing these wins keeps your mindset positive and your energy high. The reason celebrating progress matters so much is that our brains are wired to seek reward. When we acknowledge and appreciate our efforts, we reinforce the habit loop. This means the behaviors that led to the progress are more likely to be repeated. It's a feedback mechanism that strengthens consistency. But when we ignore progress and only focus on what's missing or what hasn't been done yet, we actually discourage ourselves. It becomes easier to feel like we're failing, even when we're not. Celebration doesn't need to be extravagant. It just needs to be intentional. Maybe it's taking a moment at the end of the day to write down 3 things you did well. Maybe it's sharing a small success with a supportive friend. Maybe it's treating yourself to something enjoyable when you hit a milestone. The key is to pause and recognize that you are becoming the person you set out to be. That acknowledgement builds momentum. Now, staying inspired is the other half of the equation, because let's face it, motivation fades. Even when you love your goal, there will be days when you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. That's when inspiration becomes crucial. Inspiration is the spark that reminds you why you started in the first place. It connects your daily actions to a bigger vision, and when that connection is strong, it becomes easier to keep going. One powerful way to stay inspired is to regularly revisit your vision. Don't let your goals collect dust. Read them often Visualize them, speak them out loud, keep them in front of you on your wall, in your journal, or even as a note on your phone. When your goal is visible, your mind stays aligned with your purpose. You remember what you're working toward, and you're less likely to get lost in the noise of daily life. Another way to stay inspired is to surround yourself with positive inputs. Read books that challenge your thinking. Listen to podcasts that energize you. Watch interviews or speeches by people who have done what you're trying to do. The voices you allow into your mind shape your attitude. So make sure those voices are lifting you up, not dragging you down. Inspiration is not always spontaneous. Sometimes you have to seek it feed your mind like you would your body, consistently and with quality fuel. And don't underestimate the power of community. Sharing your journey with others, whether it's one accountability partner or a group of like-minded individuals, can provide motivation that you simply can't generate alone. When you see others striving, overcoming, and succeeding, it reminds you that you can do the same. And when you share your own wins, no matter how small, you inspire others in return. Lastly, remember that your success plan isn't just about hitting the goal. It's about who you become in the process. Celebrating progress and staying inspired ensures that you don't burn out or lose your way. It keeps your heart in the game. It reminds you that every step, every effort, every small victory is part of a larger transformation. And that transformation isn't just measured by what you achieve. It's measured by the joy, purpose, and growth you experience along the way. So take time to celebrate. Stay connected to your vision. Feed your inspiration daily. Because when you honor your journey, you make success not only sustainable, but deeply fulfilling.